Here on the home front, President Trump is considering invoking the Insurrection Act to aid the Immigration and Customs Enforcement operation in Chicago. Chicago protesters are blocking ICE efforts there to deport illegal immigrants and even ramming ICE vehicles with their cars. All of this comes as Illinois Governor Pritzker resists the president's offer to deploy the National Guard in the Windy City, and as ICE agents are threatened with attack and even death by members of the Mexican drug cartels. Well, joining us with more is security analyst Michael Letts. He's president and CEO of Invest USA. Michael, should the president invoke the Insurrection Act for Chicago? I know Governor Pritzker says it isn't that bad there.
I don't think we have any choice, Gary, and here's the reason why. Even with the governor's opposition and trying to block brave men and women that we have in law enforcement attempting to make this community safe for its citizens, we have been able to apprehend over 1,500 illegal criminals, not just because of their illegal status, but who have criminal records and prepare for deportation. So I don't know where Governor Pritzker thinks he's living, but it's certainly not in Illinois, and it's certainly not in the Chicago area. And for him to take such a bullheaded position that assistance is not needed, it's definitely needed because our officers are under attack. We have now discovered that the cartel in Mexico now has a pool of assets that they have put together to put a bounty on the head of every ICE officer killed.
Well, I wanted to ask you more about that because are they in real danger? Or is this just bluster on social media? Can the cartels really reach that far all the way to Chicago and kill these guys?
Well, there's no question they can. You know, I grew up in Mexico and very familiar with the cartels, and their reach is long, and it has been extended because of the previous administration and all the policies that Biden administration had in place. So here's the point. You raise a great discussion there, Gary. Under this administration, we're curtailing their ability to do that. But they had 4 years to get their people in place, the cartels and their drug lords and their gang members all across the country. So they have assets in every one of our states.
And the people of the Windy City just want to be safe. They want their crime-free neighborhoods. They can walk around without worrying about getting shot or people dealing drugs. And let's talk about Memphis, because it seems the president's effort in Memphis is making a difference there. What can you tell us about the early successes in Memphis to reduce crime?
Well, we're having the same situation we had in D.C. You know, here it's very simple, Gary, when you think about it. Criminals are not stupid, like some people would like to believe. They're smart. They know that they go to the most vulnerable areas, and they shrink and try to escape and run away when they're met with overwhelming force. That's the key word, overwhelming force. The president recognizes that. That's a military terminology. And quite frankly, when you look at what's happened on the previous administration, the Biden administration, when he came into office, we had roughly 1.4 million officers on the street nationwide. When he left, we had right at 700,000, almost a 50% reduction.
Michael, I'm sure you understand the concern that Americans have about deploying troops in our major cities. Many people say they don't want to see our urban streets become war zones.
Well, my reply to that, Gary, is that's already happening. I mean, that's, you know, just you got to face the music. We already have war zones in Portland, in Chicago, in L.A., all across the country. We've had them in New York. We had them in D.C. till we got that under control. So I think that's a misnomer to say they don't want them to be war zones. They've already become that. The question is, how do we restore freedom, liberty, and safety to these areas? And the only way is to apply whatever resources are necessary. You know, I understand, and the president understands, we don't want a military dictatorship in this country. And that has never been proposed. The 10th Amendment, which keeps you from using military assets for law enforcement purposes on American soil, also has various provisions that allow for exceptions. When there's a national emergency, I can't think of a more national emergency than not being safe in your own community. And with some of these resistant states, if they want to resist too far, we'll bring in the Insurgency Act and go ahead and still, we're going to get it accomplished. They are not going to succeed about keeping military resources out of their city and state. The only way they will succeed in that is if they do something about it and be able to come back to us within a matter of a week or two and say, look, crime is gone. We have no interest in being there if there's not crime. The only place the president wants to be and send the resources is where crime has become overwhelming and overrun the city, and people's lives and their freedoms are at stake. We are not going to allow that to happen in the United States of America. It's just not going to. It's just not on our radar screen. We are going to protect the American people. The Constitution provides for that. Cities and states should be doing it first. But if they can't or won't, and it's usually because they won't, not because they can't, then we will.
Okay, peace through strength. It applies domestically as well. Michael Letts, President and CEO of Invest USA. Thank you, Michael, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Gary. God bless America, and God bless all of our law enforcement who are holding the line. Great to have support from the administration.